Good morning. Good morning. That's the way to go about it. So, did everyone sleep well tonight? I think you did not because I said tonight. So, all of you did not sleep well last night. So, welcome to day 2 at LT of the Entrepreneurship Summit 2014. We are going to be starting the program with the keynote address. It's going to be titled Bureaucracy and Entrepreneurship. It's going to be taken over by Shri Harkesh Kumar Mittal, Secretary Technology Development Board, Government of India, and Member Secretary National Science and Technology Entrepreneurship Development Board. He has been an alumni of the National Dairy Research Institute and the Indian Institute of Management, Ahmedabad. Shri Harkesh Mittal has been instrumental in giving a new vibrancy to promoting the innovation and entrepreneurial acumen among a wide section of Indian entrepreneurs, ranging from simple rural industries to high-end technological enterprises. During 2 decades of association with the Indian government, has made the program of innovation and entrepreneurship at the Department of Science and Technology a respected and sought-after entity by individual entrepreneurs in industry and technological circles in India and the industrially advanced countries. As Member Secretary of the National Science and Technology Entrepreneurship Development Board, Government of India, his responsibilities include involving the national and international private sector in the task of innovation and entrepreneurship development in India, with companies including Intel, TCS, Lockheed Martin, Boeing, P&G, and the Economic Times, many of which are making matching contributions and bringing world-class technology, commercialization, knowledge to India. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for the keynote by Shri Harkesh Kumar Mittal.
Good morning, friends. First of all, I would like to thank Dr. Kusre and Poini for inviting me here this morning, a beautiful Sunday morning, and thank you for coming in large numbers on this Sunday morning. The topic of the day is almost two opposites, bureaucracy and entrepreneurship. They actually don't go together. And a bureaucrat to speak on entrepreneurship is something which is quite challenging for me in a way. Well, let me tell you, if I remove this coat of bureaucracy, there's a professional inside. This morning I am going to talk to you as a professional, but then I cannot forget that I have still my coat on. And let me do some time travel and go back when I was young. In fact, I already feel very old amongst this young crowd, but I was a student at IIM Ahmedabad and I wanted to be an entrepreneur. Well, with a surname like Mittal, what else I could have done? So the only connection I have with entrepreneurship is this surname which I carry, nothing else. So when I was a student there, I had my business plan ready. I was allocated an industrial shed. And I was to graduate out of IIM Ahmedabad and start my own enterprise. Now, one of my professors, Professor Gupta, he said that there's this new institute which has come up, Entrepreneurship Development Institute of India, and they are organizing an event like this, where they'll talk about entrepreneurship, how to promote entrepreneurship, etc., etc. You go and attend that event. Well, as a very obedient student, I went and attended that session. Well, friends, that was the end of my entrepreneurial dreams. Because I was so impressed by the speaker there that I thought if I work for this institute for 2-3 years, I would be like Dr. Rawal, who knows everything about small industry, and nobody would be able to beat me. So, lo and behold, I in fact went to the institute, said that why don't you come for the placement, I want to join you. They came, I was selected, I joined that institute. So in my almost about 28 years of career so far, I have not been an entrepreneur. I have never made a single paisa through the entrepreneurial route. And my first advice to you is that knowledge is important, but action is more important. While I got all the knowledge, today you ask me, I have all the knowledge, but I am not an entrepreneur. While knowledge is important, action is, to me, is even more important. Well, other thing which I must also share with you, that at that point of time, we did not have all the facilities, all the schemes, the programs which the government or the banks, financial institutions, private sector, they offer you today. It was not there. So today the opportunity is much larger. How do we prepare ourselves? Maybe I'll touch. What I'm going to do throughout this session is I'm going to share a lot of stories with you. Stories of people, the problems they faced, how they overcame them, and how they are successful or not successful. Let's, for a time being, it's a Sunday morning, let's relax and talk about something else. Let's talk about Olympics. Let's talk about Olympics. How is the performance of India in the Olympics? Nothing to write home about. One odd gold medal here or there, otherwise, or some medal, not even gold medal, some medal here and there. But there is the Olympics of the different kind. There is Science Olympiad, International Science Olympiad. This is in physics, chemistry, mathematics. Last 20 years, my department has been sending 15 people every year to this International Olympiad, physics, chemistry, mathematics. Last 20 years, 15 students every year. Trust me, none of these students have come back without a medal in these 20 years. I was talking to you about Olympics, I was talking to you about Science Olympiad. See the difference. See the difference. That means we are a large brain power. We are a large powerhouse of knowledge. But what happens that the same brains who have won all these medals do not do well in terms of promoting a Google, promoting a Apple or BlackBerry, or what happens? Where does this all go? What is it is lacking? Application of knowledge, action, knowledge. See, all of you are right. The biggest thing is that we have not created mechanisms where one could de-risk this initiative. If you want to start today, you face a number of risks. I am involved in the Technology Development Board for funding enterprises. Working with innovation is always exciting. If you succeed, I will talk about your venture here. If you don't succeed, I will talk about your venture in the court of law. Right? The difference is the venues change. The failure is not taken very kindly as a society, as a system, whereas most of the places where such an ecosystem develops, the tolerance to failure is high. Let me touch upon few more points on this. We are traditionally not a society which is funding knowledge-based enterprises. We have lots and lots of knowledge workers. We do not have knowledge entrepreneurs. There are interesting statistics on the net that 35% of Google employees are Indians, 40% of NASA is Indians, and this, and most of you would have gone through those kind of statistics. But if they are all those employees, where are the entrepreneurs? Where are the entrepreneurs? And it is not that we have not had success stories, but we hit a plateau at a certain point of time. We promote a lot of incubators inside the country. And I am often asked a question, can you tell me one great success story outside your incubator, which is like Narayan Murthy, Bill Gates, this, that. So it actually hurts me. 20, 30 years we are doing incubation and I can't still tell them that there is one Bill Gates out of my incubator, there is one Narayan Murthy out of my incubator. I can't tell them. The reason is that it may sound like a justification, but what I have seen is that once the entrepreneurs hit a level of about 20 to 30 crores, when they have a bungalow, a car, couple of cars maybe, couple of bungalows, so there is this level of satisfaction, contentedness, that I would only eat bread made out of wheat, not of gold. So why bother? Why this thing? This is the first reason. That complacency which sets in. The second reason is when you hit that level, you now will have to have professional management. You will now have to have a production manager. You will now have to have a marketing manager. You now have to have a finance manager. The client which was coming to you till yesterday will now no longer see you. He will see your marketing manager. So that uneasiness comes in. You knew where the nuts and bolts of the company are kept till yesterday. Today you are no longer aware. You were signing all the checks yourself. Now your checks are being signed by somebody else. So this fear of control actually sets in. This fear of losing control actually sets in. And the industry stays at that level of 20, 30 crores. They don't grow beyond that. They are happy, they are satisfied. Well, it's an individual choice, but then I think we need to go to the next level. That's okay. Now, since the topic is about bureaucracy and entrepreneurship, let me tell you the fundamental difference. Let me tell you the fundamental difference between a bureaucratic approach and an entrepreneurial approach. The first thing is that bureaucracy wants to be consistent, wants to be uniform. And an entrepreneur and an innovator is always evolving and he wants to be different. As a bureaucrat, I am looking at, was this done yesterday, a year before, 10 years before? I have a precedence, I can take decisions based on that. But you as an entrepreneur are disruptive. You do not want the same decision, you want a different decision. So my level of comfort is not there. So there's a spark which happens between these two. Because you are disruptive, you want to change and I don't want to change. And that's the first point of spark. Then you want speed. You want speed. I am in the process of stabilization. I want stability. So this is the first fundamental difference which you have. Let me narrate an example to you. I think Suhas would have come to one of these ECMs. Do you know the youngest CEO of the world? The youngest CEO of the world? Suhas Gopinath. So we all know his story. Let me, for those who have not listened to him or did not have the chance to listen to him, capture the story and then tell you the learnings. Suhas was 13 years of age when his parents gave him a laptop. His parents did not have a business background. His father was a scientist. They gave him a laptop when he was 13 years of age. So he wanted to develop a portal. He wanted to develop a web portal. And he had decided that he will not take money from his parents. This is a independent, he did not even think of this as a business, a venture which he wants to develop a portal. He was so computer illiterate that when he created an email account, he was distributing his passwords also to the people, saying that otherwise how will they access the mail if they don't have the password. So this is his own words, these are his own words. And then he wanted to develop this portal. And for hosting this portal, he wrote a mail to this company in US which was charging $80 per annum for hosting that portal. He wrote an email saying that I am a young student, can you waive off these charges for me? I do not have this kind of money to pay. The company wrote back, well, for 6 months these charges are waived off and we will take a review after 6 months. Then the next question was where to get the internet access. So Suhas today is 26, 27 years of age. This I am talking about 13, 14 years back. And the internet access was not as freely available. You had cyber cafes. He spotted a cyber cafe which used to remain closed between 11 o'clock in the night to 6 o'clock in the morning. So he went to this fellow and said, now imagine 13-year-old kid doing this. He went to this fellow, said that I will keep your cyber cafe open between 11 o'clock in the night to 6 o'clock in the morning, and my only compensation would be the free internet time which I will get during this period. And you can advertise your cyber cafe as 24/7 cyber cafe. The idea appealed to this fellow, the cyber cafe owner. And in 6 months, he started doing this. His mother got worried. And what has gotten to my son? Every night at 10 o'clock he vanishes and comes back home at 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning. So one day he called Suhas. Suhas, put your hand on my head and swear that you will do none of these entrepreneurial kind of things. This is the social system that we have. So that, well, after 6 months he overcame this family pressure also. He got a mail from this company in US where he had requested for waiving of the charges. They said, Suhas, we are enclosing your ticket to US and we want you to come over here and discuss the details of your portal which you have developed. So he went there. He was put up in a 3-bedroom apartment. Next day for the meeting he went, about 14-year-old kid. So they said that till the time you study, full scholarship is on us. We even guarantee you employment. And the flat where you are staying is yours for life. And we will work out all these details, the visa, and we will figure that out, how to do this. So in exchange of this, you give us this portal which you have developed. Suhas says that the offer was very tempting. And I almost gave in. But he said, somehow I felt that this portal is like my baby and you don't sell off your babies. So he did not sell it off, came back. Well, before I get into the story further, today Suhas has 800 employees, 600 of them based in Silicon Valley, 200 of them in Bangalore. His company is valued close to about $200 million. And once he came back, he developed his team and he did well. Why there are 600 employees in Silicon Valley? The reason is that as a minor, he was not allowed to register his company in India. as a 13-year-old, 14-year-old kid, he was not allowed to register his company in India. His company had to be registered in Silicon Valley, along with a partner whom he had founded this. Well, I think let's also share some lighter moments of this story. He was invited to the European Union Parliament to address the European Union Parliament as the youngest CEO of the world. 10:30 was the appointed time when he was to address this European Union Parliament. 10:35, Suhas is nowhere to be seen. 10:40, 45, everybody is getting restless. The word started spreading around. These Indians don't value time. All that started happening. But later on subsequent inquiry, it was found out that Suhas was there at 10 o'clock, but the security people would not let him inside because they kept saying that the children are not allowed inside the parliament. These are separate sections. Then one day we were together in a college in Hyderabad, and when we went there, after everything is over, one very senior professor, senior in age, he raised his hand in the Q&A. Well, Suhas, don't you miss out on those younger days when you jostle, when you have fun, don't you miss out on those days? The reply was, yes, professor, that is why every Friday afternoon we switch off the lights of our company and we play hide and seek. So the average age of his employees at that point of time was 19 years. Today they must have. He could not complete his engineering from MS Ramaiah College in Bangalore because his attendance would always run short. Because he was busy in his business, his attendance would always run short. So whenever he used to go to the professor that, can you give me this 5% extra attendance, 2% extra attendance, immediately the professor will give him his biodata. Do you have a place in your company for employment? So, we have had very good experiences of, he's also a very keen promoter of entrepreneurship, wants to promote it in the youngsters. So I have had a chance to share the stage with him a couple of times. But, okay. Let me talk about, we have been supporting Eureka in the E-Summit for almost 7-8 years. And this is the first time I'm actually personally come down to participate in Eureka. But we really admire the kind of work which you people have done. It's turned out to be one of the biggest events of this nature, large participation, both not only from the participant side, but from the industry, corporates, everybody, they have participated in this. Many projects have come out of this. Today, from the government side, we have incubators across 70 institutions, 70. We have incubators across 17. And all of them are promoting very good enterprises, very good, a great support to the startup ecosystem. And we have had a couple of budget announcements also in the budget announcements. We have got concessions for the incubators, both in terms of taxation, to be covered this as part of the corporate social responsibility. That's, I think I will have to narrate another story because I see a lot of movement in the crowd. Okay, let me do this. This is part of our partnership with Intel. Intel has also co-supported this event. We do a program called India Innovation Pioneers Challenge with support of Intel, where we send the winners to UC Berkeley for a global competition. In fact, we are planning that it's not, please don't take this as an official announcement, we are still considering this, whether we can send some of the winners here from this competition, from Eureka, also to the global competition. And the reason we want to do this is that 3 out of 4 times when we have sent our participants to these places, they have been winners. They have been 3 out of 4 times they have been actually winners. And let me give you one story of one such winner. This was Subramani. He was studying in ISB Hyderabad. He was a biotechnologist. He was studying in ISB Hyderabad. He developed artificial flowers. He developed artificial flowers which felt and smelt like real flowers. Flowers made out of paper. When you touch them, it gives you that wet feeling, which when you touch a real flower. The fragrance would last for 3 years using a nano spray. So now you have a artificial rose which looks like a real rose and which smells like a real rose for 3 years. That means you don't need to change the flower for 3 years. He developed this. So he was a winner in our India competition. We sent him to participate in the UC Berkeley competition. So when he landed at San Francisco airport, he was carrying a bunch of flowers with him very proudly like this, these artificial flowers. So the moment he was about to step out of the Quarter 9 in the customs, this fellow stopped him. Hey, where are you going? So he said, I have this competition, so I'm going. No, why are you carrying these flowers? So he said, these are artificial flowers. He said, come on man, they are looking like real flowers. And there's a law, you cannot take any agriculture produce or flowers or plant material inside US, which is the law. That is why this fellow was stopping. So when he said, why are you carrying these natural flowers? So he said, no, these are artificial flowers. He said, this letter, competition, he would have none of it. You come on the side. So he was taken aside. So then this fellow kept saying that these are artificial. I said, no. Then the botanist was called. They did a dissection of one of the flowers. And then he gave him a certificate that these are artificial flowers. So everybody was happy. They all posed for photographs with those flowers and he was let off. In the evening, he went to a florist to pick up a similar flower so that he could confuse the jury the next day. So he had one flower in his hand and he was trying to spot a similar flower. 15 minutes, 20 minutes. This florist got irritated. Come on man, you want one flower, pick it up and go. Why are you wasting time? He said, this is artificial flower and I am looking for a similar flower. He said, okay, I'll help you. He gave him. So this fellow was knowledgeable enough. The florist was knowledgeable. He could spot that this is an artificial flower. He said, how many of these you are carrying? He said, right now I am carrying only 25, 30. I want 10,000 of these pieces. So he said, but you'll have to give me an order with advance. So he said, how much? He said, $10 a piece, $10,000, $100,000. So he wrote out a check, an order, everything was done. So next day in the business plan competition, Subramani presented just 4 slides. Just 4 slides. First one was the certificate from the Quarter 9 authority that these are artificial flowers. Second one was that photograph with the customs authority where all this. The third one was a photocopy of the check which he had received, $100,000. And the fourth one was the order which he had received for this. Just 4 slides, and needless to say, he was a winner in that competition. The story doesn't start here, or the story doesn't end here. In fact, the story begins from here. Where are these flowers made? Where are these flowers made? These flowers are actually made in a remote village in Bihar, where fisherwomen weave fishing nets. And a very remote area, very poor area, these fisherwomen, they weave fishing nets. And by virtue of that, they have very nimble fingers to cut and stitch. They can cut and stitch very, very fast. So this village was used to make these flowers. Their income levels went up by 300 rupees a day, and this is the entire social angle of this enterprise is based there. Well, that was Subramani, and we are now planning that for this competition also, if we could support some of the people over there. Okay. Let me focus on how the technology business incubators help. The technology business incubators promoted by us, they are a place where a lot of people come together, a lot of ideas come together, a lot of support system, people from different walks of life come together. To demonstrate this, let me give you another story. I am talking about a young Sardarji based in our incubator in Noida. His name was Man, B.S. Man. He was in a very, very simple technology area, RFID. RFID was his very simple, nothing great about technology. He went to a builder, Shipra Sun City. It has, near Delhi in Noida, it has 15,000 houses. 15,000 houses it has. And there was a problem of car thefts. In this colony, there were 8 gates and about 10 cars every month were getting stolen. 10 cars every month were getting stolen, and which was giving a very bad name to the society. So he went to the builder and asked him, I can give you a solution for this. So the builder also was interested because the colony was getting a very bad name. So he said, what is the cost of the solution? He said 500 rupees per car per month. He said there are 20,000 cars. So a net business of 1 crore of rupees per month for a startup which is not even seeing 1 rupee as the revenue, suddenly gets the hope of 1 crore rupees per month. My friend Man was jumping with joy. So, but then the real problem had to now start. When he went to actually register those cars for the RFID system, where there's one card on the keychain, one on the car, and the reader at the gate. So there were 8 resident welfare associations in this complex. And the people who had lost the election in the resident welfare association, they made sure that out of 20,000 cars, not more than 3,000 get registered for this automated system. Now the problem is that there are 8 gates of the colony, and out of 8 gates, only 3 get fitted with the automated system. Sorry, 4 got fitted with the automated system. And rest 4 are still manual. If the numbers increase, everything can be done. So this fellow, now there were scenes getting created at the gate. This fellow who does not have the automated system will come to the gate and would start shouting at the gatekeeper. Janta nahi main kaun hu. This is very common in Delhi. So this would happen, and fights were happening, and this fellow is virtually in tears. So he came back to the business incubator and they did a brainstorming session on this. So then they decided to employ deaf and dumb people as gatekeepers. Deaf and dumb people as gatekeepers, people who cannot hear, people who cannot speak. So now this fellow will come at the gate and start shouting, Janta nahi main kaun hu. So this fellow, the gatekeeper, is only doing this. He's only folding his hands, doing this, and he's pointing that you go to gate number 4. He's only doing this. So this fellow is again shouting, "Kholta kyun nahi hai?" So then he kept extra people. Somebody goes and taps at his shoulder, saying that, "Why are you shouting? This fellow cannot hear, he cannot speak." Now this fellow is hurt internally, but overly he says, "Kaise kaise logon ko naukri pe rakh lete hain." But then he doesn't create a scene, he goes to the other gate. 31st of December 2008, Maan hosted a party for all the deaf and dumb workers and their families. By that time he had about 40 of these cards. The local media picked it up very well. The local media published this, that he is helping these deaf and dumb people. What he did was, he took adequate copies of those newspapers, made photocopies, and dropped this in each of those 15,000 houses. February 2009, Maan had 18,000 vehicles registered for this. 18,000 out of 20,000 vehicles of the colony were registered. All 8 gates were fitted with Maan became the biggest employer of deaf and dumb people in the world. Now, this was not enough. Now, what he did was, he now has the demographic details of each of those individuals living in the colony. Now, in the morning, when I go towards that gate, there's a TV screen. It reads, "Mr. Mittal, your car insurance expires in 15 days. Because he has the detail. He has the detail of the car. And the moment I get there, it displays, "Mr. Mittal, your car insurance expires in 15 days. There is that envelope which is kept there with the insurance, this thing, you put your check and can deposit there. In the evening, when I'm traveling with my family, depending upon my income levels, there's a message there. Like it can say, you can holiday in Switzerland if you have high income levels. In my case, it will read, you can holiday in Haridwar. So it depends on the income levels. So what happened was, in the thank you. Okay, I think I am getting too involved in the stories. Well, to tell you in short, he was actually selected for an award at the Cannes Film Festival in the focused advertisement category. Let's leave this. I have plenty of stories. I really don't know. I can go on till the evening, but I have instructions that I have to stop in the next 2 minutes. Last story, I think. Last story. This is a youngster, Sanjay Vijay Kumar. Now this is now how government and the private sector come together. Last story, I'll stop after that. Sanjay Vijay Kumar was in one of our incubators, and I knew him well. He's been able to raise about 30-40 crores in investment, doing very well in the mobile application space. So one day, Sanjay comes to my office and he opens the door, and the first statement he makes is, "Mr. Mittal, you don't know how to promote entrepreneurs." I thought that's the only thing I know of, and this youngster, 22, 23 years of age, opens the door and the first statement he makes is, "Mr. Mittal, you don't know how to promote entrepreneurs." So he must have read that shocked look on my face. So no, what I mean is that you don't know how youngsters think. The underlying statement is, you have become old, which I accept. So then he said, "Would you like to promote an incubator with me? I will start an incubator." And to test him, I said, some youngster, something has gone into his head. So I said, "Sanjay, you raise 50% of the amount, we'll give you 50% of the amount." So I thought this fellow will never get 50%, so my 50% also is secure. A week later he comes, Mr. Mittal, I have my 50%, where is your 50%? I said, Sanjay, hold on, government doesn't work that fast. So in due course, we gave him the incubator. Today, it is one of my best incubators. It's called Startup Village. If you are in Cochin, go there. The first innovation center of research in motion was established there. That's BlackBerry's outside Canada, the first innovation center was established there. Chris Gopalakrishnan is the chief mentor, has decided to become chief mentor for this. They are targeting 1,000 enterprises in 3 years. It's not just a talk. Already 200 plus of them have happened. I think I will respect time. I don't think we have time for Q&A. All my Q&As can be answered by Poini sitting here. She knows much better than what I ever do. She runs the incubator inside IIT Bombay, and she is the one who actually does all the work, and I am the one who actually gets the applause. Thank you very much.